Okay, the penultimate first final on finals day, and it is DD2. Let's have a look at the starting grid, shall we? So, here is your grid. Zanov Schiblak, after 3 wins yesterday, starts from pole position. His nearest rival, well, rivals thereof, one of them is on the front row. Francis Paulo Besoncenet is on second position. Glenn van Parijs on P3 ahead of Matthias Lund from Denmark. Martin van Leuven from the Netherlands and Peter Bezel, they round out the top 3 rows. Willy Villainen and Jakob Bezel round out the top 4 rows, and then Hannes Morin and Mick Knowlton are what's more, ladies and gentlemen, alongside each other on row 5 and thereby completing the top 10. Zenderuer and Janne Gussens, row 6. Chris Siders and Manuel Tenschert on row 7. Frederik Jerich and Luke Scheepers, row 8. Sebastian de Grant, Rasmus Vendelbo, Amerik Gerhard, Fabian Bock ran out the top 20. Robert Schopian, Tim Mika Metz, Ragnar Veres, Matis Malinovskis, Baltas Videris, Maxim Derich, Luca Minoretto, who admitted to me it was, I don't know what happened yesterday, but he's starting 27th. He's got Mark Bartels alongside. Dennis Thiem, Oliver Breitenbach, Enzo Boulogne, Henry Ayres, Sebastian Janchevski, Florian Breitenbach, Hannes Border, and also Ronnie Gertler. And also, it's going to be rather interesting what happens over there. Lucas Horstmann was the 37th classified driver. I think he was querying earlier on what was going on, reference there being only 37 drivers and whether he would compete or not. But looks to be the case that that might not be happening, but we will see whether things do happen. But all results, we have one more final one after this before we go on to the lunch break. So again, this one will have 14 minutes plus an additional lap. And now here, we will have a very, very interesting, I would say, racing confrontation. Not confrontation, because confrontation is something completely different, but it's out on track. This is where the talking stops, and this is where actions speak louder than words. So Schiblak and Besoncenet bring the field round into the tram lines. They start their way to gather pace. They hit the throttles. Are we ready? Are we steady? Let's go racing. Schiblak gets a brilliant start. Besoncenet has Van Parijs up the inside of him, but then Besoncenet absolutely fires it up the inside and gets into the lead. But then Van Parijs steals it off them like candy from a baby. Schiblak tangles with him. Oh, now was that Van Parijs? He got turned 90 degrees to the left. So Van Parijs got a tag from Zanov Schiblak going through into turn 4 as he made that, he tried to make that move. And now that is looking to be Matthias Lund. Martin van Leuven, I think, is in second position. He is. And there is Paulo Besoncenet. Schiblak down into what is now 5th position, as that was one of the Bezels, probably Peter Bezel, that was trying to slingshot his way up the inside. As there's been more dramas. Now there are carts beached, couple of Door Motorsport carts. I think Robert Schopian's been involved as well. So that was a 5-6 kart incident, and that is dramas for one of the drivers, and they're trying to get through and get back out onto the track. That's how quickly things can escalate out on the circuit. And I think a couple of them would have been the likes of Mark Bartels and maybe Tim Mika Metz, because I saw 2 Door Motorsport carts on the inside, on that part of the track at turn 7. So Matthias Lund and Paulo Besoncenet battling over the lead, but Van Leuven from the Netherlands trying to stick his oar in and give them his 2 cents. Schiblak 4th. Villainen has been passed by Peter Bezel. Glenn van Parijs has kept it on the road after that crossed up moment that he suffered through a possible tag from Zanov Schiblak, as Van Leuven, gets one sent around the outside. He got served by Paulo Besoncenet right there going through turn 6. So Besoncenet hooked the Sodi cart round to the outside of turn 6 and then powered through as there's, oh, now someone was nearly into the tyre barriers a little bit further down. So And I think there was a Sodi Kart chassis in that area, and that looked to be one of the bezels. Possibly Jakob in the 411. Zentarua is ahead of Hannes Morin. And you can see that Mick Knowlton's a bit further down than he would like to be. As that gaggle now, Hannes Morin up the inside of Zentarua. But Darua powers through, coming out of turn 11. Right behind them, they've got Jakob Bezel. Jan Negussen, Sebastian de Grand will factor into that contretemps, and de Grand closing on Bezel. A little bit further behind, Frederik Jerich trying to go toe-to-toe with Jan Negussen. As Jakob Bezel looked up in the inside of Hannes Morin going through turn 2, but the Swede made sure that he got through as Mick Knowlton gets his way up past Manuel Atencia going through turn 4. So, Rasmus Vendelbo, unfortunately, looks to have retired. Manuel Atencia, he's actually dropped right down to the bottom of the field, so quite a few drivers there. Could have been Dennis Thiem that Mick Knowlton actually got up the inside of. So Mark Bartels looks to be retiring, or looks to have retired, as has Rasmus Vendelbo. Manuel Atencia has dropped all the way to 34th, and there are 2 karts, and those are those drivers, so those 2 are watching from the race itself. Good to hear from Glenn Butcher, Sean Butcher's dad. And he says, I've got all the confidence in the world in my boy. I'm sure you have, Glenn. And he's going to race his heart out there, as everyone is doing. As Tent Shirt, I've just spotted going through into turn 12. And he's battling away, possibly with the 4-3-7, maybe Luke Sheepers. But you can just see there that there was a move from Peter Bezel on Zander Triblak. Triblak trying to get back onto level pegging terms. And on that time, he doesn't get through. Takes the wider line as Hannes Morin. Oh, now that was a brilliant move there by Jakob Bezel. Absolutely hooked it up around the outside of Hannes Morin. As Van Parijs now goes into battle with Zander Triblak. So, no love lost there. However, you can see that now Zentarua is ahead of Jakob Bezel. There's Hannes Morin, there's Sebastian de Grand, and that is a 4-way scrap over what is 8th position on the road as they come through, funnily enough, through turn 8. Darua trying to keep it on the black stuff as they head down towards the right-hander at turn 10. And again, they're all using that curve on the inside of turn 10. So we've had a time penalty being issued, and that is for pushing. And that is for the 480. Oh, and a positional change there. That is for... Well, that's around where Triblak is. And there's Van Leuven again round the outside. And Van Parijs looked up the inside there on Zander Triblak. That's Peter Bezel at the front of that 4-kart train. And that's the battle from 5th, 6th and 7th. So this is not abating by any stretch of the imagination. As we've got just under 8 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock remaining. Drivers giving it their all. The adrenaline surging, coursing through their veins. And they're not giving up yet. Zander Triblak getting hustled by Van Parijs. As Van Parijs now senses a move up the inside and gets cleanly through. Squeezes that position. Squeezes through, threaded the eye of the needle, but then Zander Triblak, incredibly impressive in the wet yesterday, now trying to go toe-to-toe. So Triblak, the defending champion, finding himself out of customary position in his mind. But that was a great move from Van Parijs, just literally timed it to perfection, and Van Parijs trying to go on to battling terms, drawing the battle lines with Martin Van Leuven. As, oh, now Triblak managed to sweep his way around the outside, coming through the exit of turn 6 on Van Parijs, and gets the apex nailed through turn 7. So very shortly, we'll have hit the halfway point on the timer. So 7 minutes down, 7 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. And Paulo Bissonsone is closing to within 0.7 of a second of the leader as Van Parijs again tries to get past Sander Schiblack, and he goes through. That was a thread of the eye of the needle moment from Glenn Van Parijs. Absolutely stole that position like candy from a baby, and off of Sander Schiblack in the process, going through turn 11. Van Parijs just had a complete confidence and just got it done. He uses his glove to wipe off the amount of spray that's coming onto his visor. There isn't much spray because the conditions are improving again. No rain has fallen. So the times are increasing, as is the air temperature, as there was Van Parijs sweeping towards the outside of turn 6 behind Martin van Leeuwen from the Netherlands. Closes up on the braking zone through turn 7. And whilst this is happening, Jakob Bezel and Ville Viljijnen now are closing in on them. And there are the two leaders. Bissonsone has closed that gap to within half a second now, as Peter Bezel sets the fastest lap time. First driver to go under 1 minute 12, or 1 minute 12.994. As Van Leeuwen now trying to hold on to fourth position ahead of Glenn Van Parijs. But Bissonsone smells a bit of Danish blood in the water. And now the Frenchman will start charging forward. Gap was half a second last time. It's been nigh on hard by Bissonsone, who closes up into the braking zone. But coming along with them will be Peter Bezel. And good to hear from another friend from Malta, Justin Mifsud, joining us. A good friend of mine. Now, I just saw that Van Leeuwen just literally, again, mugged Sander Schiblack, and he's trying to do his level best to get past Glenn Van Parijs. So Van Parijs is now in fourth position. Peter Bezel is closing on the two in front. So Bissonsone has got time running out. But there's still a little bit left to go. And Sander Schiblack and Martin van Leeuwen go into battle again. But then all I'm going to say is you can just see how this has changed. Oh, bit of a clash there. Little bit of a tangle between wheels and nigh on side pods. And that was Jakob Bezel that got past Sander Schiblack going through the exit of turn 9. Schiblack now tries to go up the inside of Van Leeuwen into turn 12. He nearly gets the move done, but Van Leeuwen just hangs it round the outside of the final corner and just punches down the throttle and says, "See you and good night." But I don't think Schiblack will want that to happen for much longer, because they're closing again on Jakob Bezel, who rounds out the top 5. Glenn Van Parijs has got some daylight at the end of the tunnel. It's a bit not as bright as he'd like it, because he's still got quite a lot of time to find. Schiblack does the old switcheroo on Martin van Leeuwen as they head on to the Europaplan. Just over 3.5 minutes remaining. And just looking at the train behind Ville Viljijnen, that is being led by Zen de Rua, I believe, no, that's Hannes Morin now. So that's coming through turn 8. So you've got Morin, de Rua, Goossens, you've got de Grand, you've got Jerich, you've got Tenscher, you've got Knowlton in there. That is 9 carts from Hannes Morin. So that is 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. That's all the way down to P15 as Morin has a well, that wasn't Morin. That was more than likely the 4:35 Friedrich Jerich that had a moment there, because right behind him is Sebastian de Grand, who has dropped a position. Bissonsone is trying to get on level pegging terms again with Matthias Lund, but the Frenchman has lost a bit of time. Peter Bezel, in the meantime, has put in the fastest lap of anybody, and that was on the previous lap. Lap number 8 to 1 minute 11.702. So the Czech Republic driver, he's basically, well, he finished 3rd in the championship last season, and he's already saying, "Here's my warning shot across the bow." And I can very much believe him. So Aymeric Guérin, the only driver to have a time penalty, that's for pushing, as we head towards the final 2 minutes of this race. We've got one more final to go before we head our way into the official lunch break. And you can just see that gaggle there. Mick Knowlton's trying to make up positions. And that's Sebastian de Grand just up ahead. So Mick Knowlton trying to go toe-to-toe with Manuel Tenchert, who sends it up the inside of the Belgian. Knowlton looks to make it nearly 3 abreast, and de Grand hangs on. And then you've got 437 and the 481. So that's Luke Scheepers and Germany's Fabian Bock. So Fabian Bock really starting to come alive. Showed good prowess in DD2 last week at the opening round of the B&L karting series. He actually took a very good set of finishes, but also had his dramas as well. It's a very much a learning experience for the 481 from Germany. As now, oh, well, Luke Scheepers is trying to go around the outside of Fabian Bock. Oh, nearly tangles wheels on the run from turns 4 to 5, but slots in behind, thinks better of it. As Fabian Bock, oh, now, was there a little touch between him and Mick Knowlton? Because Mick Knowlton quickly looked over his right shoulder to see, I think the first thing was say, who on God's green earth was that on my right? And he found out it was Fabian Bock rather quickly. So we're heading into the last 50 seconds. And behind Luke Scheepers is Oliver Breidenbach. So up into 18th position. So Oliver Breidenbach started all the way down in 30th position. So a good increase of positions from the German. But you can see that now this gaggle heading into turn 12, one of which is Manuel Tenchert. Then you got Mick Knowlton. Sebastian de Grand trying to go round the outside, keeps it planted, and he's got a nose ahead. Here comes Fabian Bock, 3 wide down the start, finish straight. Bock up the inside of Knowlton. De Grand keeps ahead of them. Bock retaliates. And Manuel Tenchert is sort of like, I hope he's not looking behind him, because otherwise he's going to have a heart attack. As Luke Scheepers trying to go around the outside of Mick Knowlton, gets the job done through turn 4, slots in behind de Grand. So this battle, as we've now hit 0 on the clock, next time around, so we've had a time penalty, and that's for the 413 for pushing Florian Breitenbach, so a 5-second time penalty coming his way post-race. But this gaggle of karts being led by Manuel Tenchert with Fabian Bock behind him. That's for 13th place, and there was a very loud exhaust, I think I just heard then. So one driver might have a non-compliant exhaust when it goes through scrutineering. So we're on the final lap. Matthias Lund has scarpered away a little bit further into the distance, as Hannes Morin trying to battle away with Ville Villainen and gets up the inside through turn 12. Nice work by the Swede. And got a good switchback coming out of turn 12. Hannes Morin put the power down and shot past Villainen as if he was standing still. And there is Peter Bezel behind Paolo Bissoncenet with Matthias Lund still leading as they go through turn 8 for the final time. And there's still battles up and down the order. It's basically like it's like all the drivers from, and I can see a couple of Nice Racing drivers going through. Amérique Guérin seems to be getting his nose stuck in there. Luca Minoretto's made his way up into 23rd position. But the leaders now make their way through into turn 12 and getting into pole position provisionally for the second final this afternoon. Denmark's Matthias Lund wins comfortably, but not by much, ahead of France's Paolo Bissoncenet. Peter Bezel takes 3rd place. Glenn Van Parijs in 4th, but the battle between the likes of Tenchert, Bock, de Grand, Knowlton, Scheepers is still kicking off as Tenchert drifted a little bit wide. Bock tried to go up the inside of him, but then Tenchert hit the throttle and got away. Son of Schiblak 6th, Martin van Looyen 7th. The pair behind Jakob Bezel is, oh, Luke Scheepers gets very, very crossed up coming out of turn 12, but manages to hang on, and he takes 11th. So here's your finishing order. Matthias Lund wins the race ahead of Paolo Bissoncenet from France by just over a second. Peter Bezel a further 4/10 behind in 3rd place. Glenn Van Parijs had that 90-degree left-hand moment, so it's a full-on left-hand down code brown for the Belgian. Jakob Bezel in 5th, Son of Schiblak, Martin van Looyen, Hannes Morin, Ville Villainen, Zenderua. They round out the top 10. Yanni Gussens in 11th, ahead of Friedrich Jerich, Manuel Tenchert 13th, ahead of Fabian Bock, Sebastian de Grand, Luke Scheepers, Oliver Breidenbach, and Mick Knowlton. They round out the top 18 positions. Chris Siders and Walter Svidris round out the top 20. Follow that up with the likes of Tim Mika Metz in 22nd ahead behind Maxime Desriches. Then you've also got Luca Minoretto up to 23rd at the finish. Hannes Border, Amerik Gerhard, Florian Breitenbach, Ragnar Virus, Robert Chorpian, Sebastian Janchevsky, Matis Malinovskis, Dennis Thiem, Henry Ayres in 32nd ahead of Enzo Boulogne and Ronnie Göttler, rounding out the 34 that finished the full race distance. However, we did have 2 retirements in the form of Rasmus van der Bo and Mark Bartels on the first lap after the multi-cart incident on turn 7.